You are listening to the Postcast presented by the Locked On Senators podcast following a 4-1 loss on the road to the Nashville Predators. And to make matters worse, it felt like we got kicked in the nuts when Matt Duchene puts an exclamation mark on it. I'm Ross Levitan alongside Brandon Pillar and at Laleem's Martian. Pilsy, your initial impression on this one?
The smallest guy on the ice had the biggest performance in UC Saros. I mean, he stole this game for the Predators. That save he made on Drake Batherson on that Brady Tkachuk 2-0 was so good. Like he could have stopped Brady and Batherson. Like he was covered both ways for the shot and the pass. And yeah, UC Saros played a hell of a game, and that's why the Sens weren't able to fully push through on this one.
Yeah, man, definitely. That was a hell of a performance by UC Saros. And I thought Forsberg was having a good game there for himself as well. I mean, it was a good goaltending showing on both sides, but obviously the Sens just couldn't get the offense going there tonight.
Yeah, I mean, they had their chances in the first period, I thought, especially, and even the start of the second, those back-to-back odd man rushes, and just couldn't get it done. And felt like once Saros established that he wasn't going to go down easy, even though they gave up the first one, which no fault of his own on that one either, but it just felt like the ice tilted. And that's what a good, confident goalie gives his team. And the Sens have seen that a bit with Forsberg earlier in the year, but UC Saros on another level, man. When he was tested there, I thought that he looked good. My kind of TSN turning point, and there's a couple. You could say the penalty shot would obviously be an easy one. But how about when Brady Tkachuk had a clear-cut breakaway and decided to go with a little drop pass? Did you want him to shoot? Some people like the creativity and trying to make it an easy tap in for Batherson, but I'm of the mind when you're that close and your calling card is scoring from in tight, you just have to rip that one.
Yeah, probably just going to go ahead and rip that one on most nights, but I think he's trying to get Batherson back on the scoring sheet. It's only his second game back, didn't get one the first night, so he's probably just looking to get his buddy Batherson on the scoreboard here early in his coming back. I mean, the guy I would like to see get a little more ice time out there, though, is Matthew Joseph right now. Like he seems like he's going every night since the trade. I'd like to see a few more coaching adjustments maybe from DJ during the game when you identify a guy who's clearly, he's giving it all out there. And Matthew Joseph, I feel like, is really doing that. So I would like to see him get a little more ice time, a little more offensive opportunity probably.
Yeah, that's a great point, Martian. I want to get Pilsy's take on that because I looked this up. Shout out Natural Statric. And since Matthew Joseph, and this is before tonight, but I would imagine the same ratio rings true. But obviously, Tierney's the guy he's played the most with. He's played 40 minutes and 37 seconds with Chris Tierney, only 13 minutes without him. And I'd imagine a lot of that is shorthanded as well. It seems like he's got this idea, and Gaudette, same thing. He just hasn't made any adjustments to his lines at all. It seems like in forever, like they had to slide in Batherson there, but I'd like to see kind of shake it up a little bit, even whether it's in the game or in practice. I feel like we're just kind of running in the same thing over and over again, and it's not really working.
And Ross, too, the 1 point Matthew Joseph has is when he was on the ice with someone who has actually some offensive instincts, and that was
Ennis.
Tyler Ennis.
Yeah,
right? He made that pass to Ennis, and automatic, like right away, point production. So. Yeah, I mean, like when you have Tierney out there all the time with him and Colin White, I would throw in there as well. Two guys who, when you're playing a team like Nashville, who's like super physical, you can just delete them from the game entirely because they're totally irrelevant when the physicality comes into play, puck battles in the corners. They want nothing to do with it. It's kind of frustrating to watch. And then you got Matthew Joseph out there just throwing himself right into the thick of everything. So
6 hits.
Yeah, he's all over the place. So I really like his effort level is the big thing, right? I'm not getting the vibes of the effort level from the other two guys I mentioned there.
Yeah, no doubt. So the hits in this game were 35 for Nashville, 29 for Ottawa. And coming into this game, Ottawa was, I think, 6 or 7 ahead of Nashville for first in the National Hockey League. And when you look at one of the teams being first in something, well, you could tell that Nashville is an undisciplined team. They lead the NHL in penalty minutes by over 100. They have 105 more penalty minutes than any other team. And yes, you can point to the stat that I tweeted out and we talked about where you get the most 5-minute majors, math guy, it adds up to more overall. But they took 5 minor penalties in the first period. Ottawa only converted on that 5-on-3. Pilsy, do you like the puck movement still, despite not getting more goals at the end of the day?
I mean, I thought it was decent puck movement. I'm so glad they scored in that 5-on-3. Boys, is that the first 5-on-3 goal this season for the Sens?
I think Gord Miller said that. Yeah. I think
Yeah.
because they've had, 7 or 8
They've
opportunities.
had a lot of opportunities. Yeah. So it's nice they finally were able to bury that. And that was a good length 5-on-3 too. And then they get the extra power play on top since they were still on the 5-on-3 when they scored. So I thought it was good that they got a lot of offensive touches right to start the game. And that top 2 lines for the Sens, like they had a lot of ice time at the start of that game because they played the first 2 shifts, I think. And then you get all that power play time added on there. And it's just lazy kind of stick infraction penalties by the Nashville Predators. And it's the usual suspects drawing these calls. Like Timmy had a couple. Brady had one on that questionable play by Jeannot. They're tripping him with his legs. Like there was just good examples of the Sens moving their feet and using their speed to their advantage, and Nashville having to resort to these stick infractions to try to tie them up. And one of them even resulted in a penalty shot. So definitely undisciplined team here, and they're lucky they have a goalie like that to mop up their mess.
Yeah, 2 tripping penalties, 2 hooking penalties, and 2 delay of game penalties in this one. Sorry, 3 trips. 3 trips, 2 hooks, and 2 delay of game penalties in this one for the Nashville Predators. And still, the Ottawa Senators cannot win the game. They outshot Nashville 37-32 were the shots on goal. And we talked about Brady Tkachuk scoring on the power play, his 23rd goal of the season. Tim Stützle and Josh Norris get assists. It's Tim Stützle's 40th point of the season, inching closer to the road to 50, which would be an awesome milestone for him. But that's all the scoring for Ottawa tonight. It was the Michael McCarron show, both at the end of the first period and end of the second period. Those momentum goals that you hear so often on Locked On Senators. I think I know the answer, but Martian, which one of those was more of a backbreaker?
Oh, I think it's got to be the third goal. That one was the one where it
so
just
neither.
Felt like,
he's going off the board.
Off the board. I like it.
Yeah, the 3-1 goal to me was the one that was the one that like really it was like, okay, God, like I messaged you guys at that point. I'm like, we might as well start the postcast right now because this game's over. So I want to say, yeah, it was more the third goal for me. I felt like they were hanging in there, right? Forsberg was keeping them in the game up, and like it was still 2-1, 10 minutes left in the game, tons of time left to get 1 goal to at least tie it up. But that damning record, right? That 128-1 record, now 129-1 record when they're losing going into the third period. I mean, most people who are smart would be saying at that point it was over because I mean, what's Nashville's record when they're winning going into the third, right?
It was 27-0-1, so now 28-0-1. Mark.
Yeah, so it's basically the complete opposite. So I mean, just by default, you got to say that you got to pretty much realize Sens were going to come back and Nashville wasn't going to end up winning. So, yeah, I thought the third goal, though, for me, because Forsberg was really keeping them in there. So I thought that they could have still came back at that point, me being overly optimistic as usual.
That was tough luck for Forsberg on that second goal. Like, that's something that as a goalie, like, that's kind of your worst nightmare. Like, the puck's ringing along the boards. He's expecting the momentum to carry it. It gets caught on something and then spins backwards on him. And it's literally just sitting inches out of his trapezoid, and he knows he can't touch it at that point, so you're just a sitting duck there. So you have to just leave it and scramble back to the net, and McCarron's coming in with so much speed, he's not going to miss that. And I think that kind of rattled Forsberg, and then it's tough to keep your head in the game, and you're like, oh man, that was so stupid, but it wasn't my fault, but it looks terrible. And
I'd say he didn't have to stay there. It was pretty obvious the puck wasn't going to get
but that's an all-time weird move by the puck there. Like, the puck not only hits a piece of the boards, but it's spinning backwards and kind of screws him over. He should have made a decision quicker, but I don't blame him there because that's not something you see every day.
Yeah, that was just kind of a weird fluky play. You definitely don't see it every. Was it like it was at the end of the period? Yeah, so it was like, I mean, maybe the ice was slow. It did kind of like chip off the boards and then kind of like stick and spin in that area, and then he was like, "Well, it's not going to make it to me." So by then it was too late because the forwards that were coming were moving too fast, and Michael Del Zotto was on the other side waiting for that pass to come from Forsberg. And of course, Colin White's not going to realize that that's going to happen either, as he's on his back check, even though he probably could have got on his horse a little bit quicker to get back to the other post. But it was just kind of a weird fluke play, and they took advantage of it.
The other goal, so we mentioned the 1-0 or the first period goal and the third goal as well, but the second one, it's just a play that we've been talking about time after time on Locked On Senators, and it's another just bad icing from number 22. Keeps tired legs out there. They've been out for a minute and a half. Instead of just a nice, easy breakout pass, the center was curling right in the middle of the zone. Like, at the very least, you're clearing out the zone. If he gets closed off and it's a neutral zone battle, whatever. But to miss everybody, icing, and then they score 9 seconds later. And I don't blame Zaitsev solely on the goal. I think that's a natural switch defensively.
Yeah.
And Formanton's got to get back, but they shouldn't have even been in that situation in the first place. So it's unfortunate, and you see Tierney struggling. We talked about Joseph. Like, there's some guys where I think you're just going to get better by subtraction if you can move 22 in the summer, and obviously without 71 back next year. Let's get to some Sens Central standouts. What do you say?
Sure.
One of you boys start tonight.
Pilsy, go ahead.
All right, I'm going to go with, although he didn't end up, I'll leave you guys a juicier one, because this was a play I was really happy about. And although he didn't capitalize on 2 breakaway chances, Connor Brown just getting himself involved in that situation was pretty incredible, because he blocks a shot. So, I don't know where exactly it hit him, maybe in the stomach, but somewhere really vulnerable, and like a heavy slap shot on the PK. You can tell he's hurt. He's limping around on the ice. They can't clear the puck out. And then it's like at least a minute and a half into a shift while he's in pain, and he ends up clearing the puck out of the zone, getting a breakaway. I thought his first opportunity on the breakaway was much closer than the penalty shot. But then even when they're getting ready for the penalty shot, he's like heaving and huffing and puffing. Like, he is so exhausted. And it didn't look great live, but on the replay, you can tell he almost had Saros beat with that quick blocker side shot. So I think you got to give him stick taps there for a really good effort. And he, I thought Connor Brown, just on that play alone, he was a guy that I wanted to shout out.
I like that. And
I do too. Yeah.
Love that. He's showing more and more. He's one of the heartbeats of this team.
Yeah.
How lucky do you think that was, them being nice to a veteran? The refs waited quite a while before they started the penalty shot, almost being like, hey, catch your breath, buddy. We'll give you a second.
I'm not even so convinced that should have even been a penalty shot. Like, I feel like
I've had a half step, eh?
Yeah, I've seen way more egregious like hauls and takedowns on breakaways that don't get called for that.
Like last game, Timmy in overtime?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
All right, Martian, go ahead, buddy.
I left you the good one here, Martian.
Yeah, there's a couple that I've got my eye on, but I'm gonna go with the captain, Brady Tkachuk. Yeah. I think he got off to really strong. We got the team off to a really strong start. Obviously, scoring that first goal, nice setup there, and he was just all over the ice tonight. I felt like he was in the mix in the corners. He's trying to do his thing, trying to get the guys energized by providing physicality. He had 6 hits. 4 shots on goal, and he played over 21 minutes of ice time, and obviously that's going to be up there because it was 6 minutes and 40 seconds or something he played on the power play tonight as well, mixing it up in front of the net. I thought I really wanted to see him and Tanner Jeannot go at it, but it actually ended up being Jeremy Lauzon that he was really battling with in front of the net, especially at the end there when the Sens had the extra attacker going. And I'm wondering if maybe some of that was because Lauzon was giving Colin White a ride all night. He was throwing him around pretty good, I felt like, too. So good physical battle. It's nice to see Tkachuk not really I don't expect him ever to back down from anyone, but Nashville's a big team on the back end too, and they got a lot of veteran guys who are well-respected guys in the league, and Tkachuk gets right in their face, and I love to see that. So
I forget who he smoked, but he knocked one Predator right onto his ass in the far corner, which was a great play. Just ran right through him. I don't know if that was Lauzon or someone else. The broadcast did a great job of showing that Lauzon Tkachuk battle in front of the net in the third period, and I think he took Tanner Jeannot's number. So, Martian, you might get to see that in the future after. That was a pretty egregious knee as far as I'm concerned. I thought that was definitely unnecessary and just kind of speaks to that lack of discipline that the Predators have shown time and time again. But they got great goaltending. They got timely goal scoring from their fourth line, who contributed for 2 of the goals tonight. Michael McCarron, like, talk about a throwback name, former Montreal Canadian, kind of tweener. I believe he was a first-round pick from them, and he gets a pair of goals there. Tanner Jeannot gets a third, and then Sens abroad, Matt Duchene, you kind of give it to him on karma, because he missed maybe the most wide open net I've ever seen in my life in the first period. Hits the post. Like, you wouldn't miss that if you tried 100 times, Pillsy.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. He was just not ready for that quick availability, because it bounced off a stick, escaped so quickly. But he was behind Forsberg and wide open cage and just can't get it there. But yeah, he does get redemption.
Before I give my Sens Central standout, I'm going to give some stick taps to Austin Watson, getting the video tribute in his return to Nashville, where he spent the first 10 years of his NHL career. He, again, another first-round pick back in his draft year in 2010. Had a couple good playoff runs with Nashville. I was listening to Locked On Predators, actually, and they thought there was going to be more of a mixed reaction, but it seemed like he was well received, and that's good to see. Obviously, his story is pretty public, and credit to him for doing that. But my Sens Central standout, and I feel like it's going to be for a lot of games down the stretch, is just Drake Batherson for the way he changes the dynamic of this entire offense. He makes defenders come towards him, and it opens up space for other guys, and he just never makes the wrong play. We always go back to it, but Pillsy, he was their first ever interview on Making Sense of the Sens. And when he told us he hadn't even gotten traded from Cape Breton when he really took off after the World Juniors, I think it was right after World Juniors when he had that performance. He came on the show and he said on the scouting combine, they say, what player do you model your game after? And he said Mark Stone. And I'm seeing it more and more every single time he's on the ice. He's so good defensively, sneaks up behind guys and lifts their stick. If you're not at the game, you don't realize that he's enormous out there. Like, he's not like a 6'1" kind of playmaker on the wing. He's big, and as he gets stronger, still only 23, 24, he's just going to get more mature. And that contract already being a steal is absolutely ridiculous, because by the end of it, might be like his other Maritimer, Nate McKinnon, where people are saying it's the best contract in the National Hockey League. How did they get him for that price? And man, just a fun player. And what he does on the power play too, and this is a little more in depth, but it can continue a conversation into the power play, is he's back on the left side where he can facilitate, but it also moves Timmy down kind of below where Norris is, and they can kind of have this little exchange going, and they're both left shots. So I feel like it opens up a little bit more having an extra right shot, because without him, like Brandstrom or Shabbat, both lefties, Norris, Kachuk, both lefties, Stützle lefty. So to get that righty look, especially a guy who can facilitate like Batherson, it helps the puck movement so much with the extra man.
Yeah, no, definitely. He adds a ton to the whole lineup, right? Yeah, you absolutely nailed it. I like that pick as a standout too. Even though he wasn't, on the score sheet as much, he was still definitely a noticeable offensive threat for sure. And it's funny. I thought when you first started there, Ross, I thought for sure you were going to say he's going to be a guy that we're going to name a lot down the stretch. And I thought you were going to say Anton Forsberg, because I feel like we've been saying his name a lot. I almost feel like we should just stick a pin in Forsberg and just make him a standout every night, because he's always going to take one of the 3 slots that we go with here. I feel like honorable mention to him tonight as well. I think he actually had a pretty good game too.
I got another honorable mention, unless one of you guys wants to take the words right out of my mouth.
No, you go for it, Ross. Yeah.
Well, Travis Hamonic.
Yeah, I knew it was going to be one of those 2 guys. Hamonic and Del Zotto again looked awesome.
Man, Hamonic just fires everything on net. Hey, he doesn't care. I mean, he missed wide 3 times in a row at the start, but he wasn't turned off. He kept going in the second and third. And when you have guys who crash the net, and it is a part of DJ Smith's style, it was just pucks on net and swarm. And when you have Brady and that kind of playing tight, why not? And I love it. I hope he keeps that up. That was something that really stood out for me in this game. Not like the numbers jump off the page, but 4 hits, 2 block shots, and 2 shots. Probably 6 attempts, 2 on goal. That's good. And they're still easing him in. Like, he played 15:04, the least of any defenseman in this game. But again, I feel like if they're up 2 or 3 goals instead of down, that's where he probably plays more, Brandy plays less, and so on and so forth. But I thought it was worth a little mention there because Hamonic has certainly quietly come in and played a role and done it well.
Yeah, completely agree. Yeah, I like his style too. He plays a really heavy game. What did you guys think of Brandstrom tonight? Just curious.
I thought he did a good job of getting pucks on net. He had that one chance where Colin White gave him a drop pass and all the defenders followed White to the corner, and it was like the seas just opened up for him.
Yeah.
But then he shot it to Saros's glove side, which he was cheating heavy glove side. And even I think if Saros doesn't catch that puck, it misses the net, where I was like, sure, it's a great shot, but you completely missed the assignment because the blocker side part of the net, there's a lot more empty real estate. So I wish he would have had a couple different looks, but he is doing a lot better job of at least shooting the puck and getting it through lanes to the net, because that's something that DJ Smith has really emphasized is they're not going to win games if their defensemen are taking more shots. And you mentioned Hamonic. He's a guy that's shooting more. Zaitsev even. Now, how often does he hit the net? That's a different story. But the defensemen are doing their part to get the puck to the net. And maybe Brandy didn't love some of his defensive plays, but he is improving on getting pucks on net.
I just, at the end of the day, you can accept that he's good at breaking the puck out of the zone. I think that's probably his best attribute when he's not getting smoked. He got hammered tonight in the second or third period, but he battles through that. But at some point when you have an offensive defenseman, I feel like this is the trap that Mete fell in. Like, yeah, moving the puck's one thing, but if you're an offensive defenseman, you should probably have more than just 7 assists in 36 games and no goals at all. Like, he was walking down Main Street tonight. Like a lot of guys, I think it's kind of automatic from that close with that momentum carrying him in from the point. And it's just kind of like he leaves you wanting more at the end after every time that you see him. And somebody put in here, and I mean, he's kind of low key slow. Like he's not really fast at defenseman.
He's not as good of a skater as you want him to be.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just wonder, like, do the pros outweigh the cons? I can't.
I think I think if he's on your third pair, but I think that the ship sailed of him being a top 4 defenseman. Oh, good news! It's a verbal meme throwing out the old toy and the new one's here. So when Sanderson gets here. All right,
but I mean, Brandstrom's still young too, right? Like, and for a young, small defenseman, Brandstrom defenseman, for a small D-man, that's young. Like, it's gonna take time, and he's getting the reps in. Like, if you look at his season game logs, he just for the first time played more than 40 games in the NHL. So he hasn't had that consistent time. I think hopefully next year, if like everything in the world doesn't happen against him, kind of like it has the last couple training camps and starts of seasons, if he can hit the ground running, I think we could see something different here. But yeah, I don't know. It definitely the allure of what we saw in Belleville and his ability to get the puck into the offensive zone and quarterback a power play. Haven't seen it as much at the NHL level.
No, but how much? I don't know what you do with Eric Brandstrom, man. Because
tough.
there's glimpses when you're just like, all right, oh nice, Kevin, great stack, Kevin. Tonight was Brandy's 100th NHL game.
Yeah.
Huh.
So
good luck, Kevin.
There's a lot of runway left for the kid, but it hasn't been like skyrocketing upwards like we kind of hoped it would with him getting Shabbat's opportunities here.
100 games.
Does he go no bucket in the warm-ups? That's all I really care about.
He should, man.
He's a hair guy.
He's got great hair. Yeah, he does have good hair.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's
bright blonde hair. Just looks good, hey?
I love that.
How would you know? Ricky Martian. All right, that was a long and honestly exhausting day. Again, condolences to Eugene Melnick's family. It was a whirlwind of emotions there. I think we handled it pretty well in today's Locked On Senators. And then you got to get back to hockey. I feel like that's what Mr. Melnick would have liked for us to do, and that's what we did here. I thought it was an entertaining start. Not often do you get 5 power plays in the first period alone. 1 5-on-3 mixed in there as well. Martian, what are your final thoughts from tonight's game?
I mean, you kind of said it earlier when you were talking about Brandstrom, but they just kind of left me wanting more. I think they could have easily came out with a win here if a couple of those chances could have gone in, like that Connor Brown break penalty shot. But that's just the way she goes. Sometimes this is the way this season's going. So I mean, I'm not expecting much, boys. So, when they lose a game like that, I was entertained for 2.5 periods. So that's kind of what I'm in it for now. Just give me the entertainment factor. Let me see these young kids grow. I'd like to see that tough physicality come out a little bit more. Maybe drop the gloves a couple of times. Just show you're pissed off. And I'd like to see a little more Matthew Joseph. That's all I want. Okay, that's all I want for Christmas.
Yeah, my Levy unlock of the night, as there was not a scrap tonight. I could have sworn that there would have been.
And the over didn't hit.
Yeah, sick.
0-2.
Sick. Hey, do you like the new segment today, Mark?
Sick analysis, boys.
I don't think I made it that. I was listening today, but I didn't make it all the way to the end of the episode. So if it was towards the end, I missed it.
Oh yeah, I was right at the end. Pilsy's patterns. He's gonna look at.
Oh, I heard that. I did hear that. No, I made
it.
I did make it to the end. I'm a liar.
He's gonna talk about trends and actions because hey, you kind of gave up on. I thought you were gonna be the face-off guy. I didn't hear a single face-off stat tonight.
Yeah, what's going on? Yeah, you're slacking.
Not great on the face-offs. I always have the face-off summary open, but other than the guys that like hopped in quickly for like wingers being kicked out, not great. Although Colin White, you know what? I'll give him a shout out. Well, Chris Tierney too. Both of them above 60%. So the bottom 6 guys, great job. Nice
stick taps there. I had one other question for you, but I can't remember, so I think I'll save it for tomorrow's Locked On Senators. We got a full recap of this game. Belleville's gearing up for a big weekend coming up as well, so we'll check in on them.
And hey, we didn't mention Tyler Boucher.
Oh yeah, Tyler Boucher shootout winner.
Too. Yeah, I had to leave that for Martian though. Take us through it.
Yeah, well, I caught the first period of the game before the Sens game started, so got off to a pretty good start. Had a few good chances there, always a few big hits, and then the game went to overtime. I heard he had a few good chances in overtime as well. Had a couple strong shifts there as well, where he was the main puck carrier for the 67s in the 3-on-3 overtime. And then he shot second it wasn't actually a shootout winner, apparently. It was just, Ottawa went 2 for 2. Yeah, Ottawa went 2 for 2. He was the second shooter. And then, who were they playing? Barrie. The Colts went 0 for 2. So he did, technically he put it away, but by scoring that last goal. But I love the move that he used on that shot. Yeah. He came in, he started off coming in really slow, and then as soon as he got to kind of the hash marks, he really picked up or maybe he was like top of the circle. He picked up the speed, threw off the goalies, when he wants to time the backing up, and totally threw him off. And then he just ripped one low, and it was a great shot. So nice to see him finish there. I really feel like he gets just kind of unlucky. I think a lot of games where he gets a lot of chances or he creates a lot of offense, and the puck just doesn't end up going in the net every single time. But I honestly think it's a matter of time for him. And I think the fans are definitely going to come around to him once he starts producing.
Yeah, great to see that tonight and last weekend at a 3-point night as well. So step by step, inch by inch for Tyler Boucher and his development. Pillsy, I remember my last question now. Because Stützle had an assist, he's at 40 points. There's 16 games left. Where are we on the pendulum right now? Do we think he gets there? Give me a Pillsy's percentage.
Pillsy's percentage?
Okay. Pillsy's pattern percentage, preaching patience.
For parlays.
Hey, that's a little bit too much of a mouthful there. We'll go with Pillsy's percentage on this one. I'm gonna go with. I'm warming up to it, honestly. Like I'll say 72% chance that he hits 50 now. Yeah.
All right, I like that percentage. Marshall, what's your percentage right now?
Well, I always think he's gonna do it. I'm going
100.
99%.
All right.
99. Okay.
Yeah.
That's smart. You got to cover your ass sometimes.
Well, in his pace right now, he's got 13 points in his last 13 games after tonight.
Yeah. So that's beautiful. That's
on
a good pace.
On pace season,
on
late in
pace
the
to have
season.
consistent 50-point seasons like a certain someone he was compared to.
Oh,
Don't
little
say
Derek
it.
Stepan magic. Jeez, that's still the funniest plot of this show when the Senators,
it is great.
after that whole debacle, then they go out and get him, and then he sucks.
It was his
they
first
still leave-
line mate too. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Sucked. Yeah.
Timmy starts with stepdaddy, I think was the name of our
Yeah.
episode. Oh man, old takes exposed, that one for sure. Appreciate everyone jumping in the chat. Obviously it's been a long day. Thanks for all the support, and we appreciate you subscribing to the Locked On Senators podcast. I feel, boys, we're promoters now too. We got to end off every episode selling these tickets, and we're not making a dime off of them. We just want the vibes and everybody to enjoy themselves.
All about the vibes.
Martian, this is our first time chatting with you since we pulled the trigger. So we're sitting in 319, 320. Are we gonna have a good time or what?
Yeah, I think it'll be a good time. A little, a little pregame meetup too. Well, hopefully we have a decent turnout there. We're still working on the venue situation, but I think that we should be able to figure that out. I think this week or next for sure.
Yeah,
we'll give everybody ample heads up on where we're going to be pregame. But for anybody who's planning on going that game and hasn't bought their tickets yet, or even anyone who's they've already bought a ticket and they're not sitting in that section, I think we might just congregate like right in front of that 319, 320 area.
Yeah, the fan deck's right there too.
Yeah, and the fan deck's going to be. I mean, it's always packed. It's always packed.
Yeah,
so
it's
maybe,
a little shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah, but yes, it's going to be a great time. It's going to be fun to meet all you animals, and I think it'll be a great time for sure. We'll get all the different chants and stuff going up in the stands too. I think that'll be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. So if you are looking to buy tickets, go to our link tree, which you can find on our Twitter account at Sens Central. You can also follow the show lockedon.senators on Instagram. And of course, you're already following at Laleem's Martian for clips, shit talking, and everything in between. For tonight, we say goodbye after a 4-1 Senators loss in Nashville. They'll be back in action on Friday in Detroit, but we got 3 shows between now and then. We're going to get a Sens Central Citizen and a whole lot more. So thanks for sticking with us today. Really appreciate it. For Brandon Pillar and at Laleem's Martian, I'm Ross Levitan, and this has been the Postcast presented by the Locked On Senators podcast.